Welcome to today's video. We'll be talking about the upcoming up temperatures for next week, everybody. For some places, we're gonna have above average temperatures, so we're gonna look at how above average the temperatures are gonna be, everybody, first. Then we're gonna look at our temperatures. Then we can see also. So we see this is Sunday, 8 a.m. Parts of South Dakota got 17 to 18 degrees above average. Nebraska, 13 degrees. Kansas, 10 degrees above average. Might be below average in parts of Ohio, Kentucky, minus 11 below normal. We can see 4 degrees below normal in Wisconsin. Sunday, 8 a.m. We can see parts of Colorado with 20 degrees above average. We can see also. So then we can see by Sunday, 8 p.m. we got our above average temperatures of 23 degrees. We can see in some places like Nebraska, Kansas, 20 degrees above average in some parts of Kansas. Even Illinois, we got a few degrees above average. Even Colorado, Wyoming, we have 24, 23 degrees above average. In Nebraska, we can see also Minnesota, we can have 15 degrees above average. Wisconsin, we could have 7 degrees above average. We can see also uh, Texas, we could have maybe a couple degrees below normal. In the top of Texas, we could have 15 degrees above normal. Oklahoma, we could have 12 degrees above normal and several degrees above normal. So we're going to really talk about Monday more. We can see Monday we could have temperatures in parts of Illinois that are 14 degrees above normal, parts of Ohio 8 degrees above normal, Michigan 10, Nebraska 27 degrees above normal possible, Kansas 25 degrees above normal, even parts of Colorado we could have 25 degrees above normal, 16 degrees above normal, and in parts of Missouri, Iowa 20 degrees above normal, Minnesota 20 degrees above normal, Texas 5 degrees above normal, Louisiana 5 degrees above normal, Minnesota 6 degrees above normal. Tennessee 0 degrees above normal. Kentucky we can have a few degrees above average too. We can see Montana we have 13 degrees above normal too. We can see in some spots too. So all right, so we can see for early Tuesday morning we can see. So this is our for our one day from Monday to Tuesday. We can see we have 31 degrees above normal in parts of Nebraska, Illinois 20 degrees above normal, Ohio 15 degrees above normal. You can see in some spots. So Montana we can have 11 degrees above normal, North Dakota 16 degrees above normal, Texas several degrees above normal, Louisiana 6 degrees above normal. We can see also Michigan 14 degrees above normal. We can see. So then we're gonna be really talking about Tuesday. We can see more. We have 26 degrees above normal in Iowa. It's about 20 degrees above normal in Ohio. We can see Oklahoma 26 degrees above normal in some of these spots. We can see also on here. So yeah, we're gonna move on to our temperatures in a second. We can see lower average temperatures in Montana, 6 to 7 degrees above normal. We can see also in some spots in Montana. So let's move on to our temperatures. So hold on. All right, we got Sunday 1 p.m. We can see in parts of Kansas in the 80s. Texas is in the 80s. Nebraska is in the 70s. We can see even South Dakota's in the 60s or 70s. Iowa in the 60s or 70s. Missouri in the 60s or 70s. Arkansas in the 60s and 70s. Louisiana in the 70s. Indiana in the 50s. Illinois in the 50s. Wisconsin in the 50s. Minnesota in the 60s. We can see uh, uh, 60 degrees in Minnesota, Arkansas in the 70s, Colorado in the 70s, Kansas in the 80s too. We can see also. So we can see most of what's that called New Mexico 70 degrees. We can see also. You can see in Arizona 80 degrees too. We can see also. So let's move on. All right, by Sunday at 4 p.m. we can see 80 to 90. 80s and 90s in Texas. We can see also in Oklahoma. We can see 90s potentially too. Even Nebraska we see 80s. Colorado we can see 70s too on Sunday. We can see even in Missouri some 70s. Minnesota we can even see some 70s. South Dakota we can even see some 70s too. Texas we can see 80s. Louisiana we can see 80s. Kentucky we can see 60s. Tennessee 60s. Mississippi in the 70s we can see also. And we can see Georgia in the 60s too. On here, Florida in the 70s too. We can see also on this too. You can see on this forecast. So let's move on. Then we got Sunday at 7 p.m., 6 p.m. probably for where I'm at 7 p.m. would be 6 p.m. for over here. Kansas we're in the 80s at 6 p.m. Texas we're in the 90s. We can see Nebraska we're in the 70s. We can see Minnesota we're in the 70s too. We can see also on here even parts of New Mexico we're in the 80s, and Arizona we're in the 90s too. We can see in Louisiana we're in the 70s too. We can see also, so looks pretty interesting so far. Ohio we could be in the 50s too. We can see also on here. So then we can see going into Sunday night, everyone. We can see 70s in Kansas at 10 p.m. 70s in Texas, 70s in Oklahoma. We can see Missouri in the 60s, Nebraska in the 60s and 70s. We can see Colorado in the 70s too. We can see also Louisiana in the 70s, Tennessee in the 60s, Kentucky in the 50s, Michigan in the 40s. We can see also. So yeah, guys. So Missouri in the 60s, Iowa in the 60s, Minnesota in the 60s, South Dakota in the 60s, Wyoming in the 60s. We can see also for some of these places. Also for Sunday at 10 p.m. we can see also. Alright, Monday at 6 a.m. we can see 50s in Kansas, 60s in Oklahoma, Texas in the 60s, Nebraska in the 60s at 6 a.m. on Monday, 60s in Missouri, 50s in Arkansas, 60s in Louisiana, Indiana in the 50s. We can see also. We can see for some of these areas, yeah. So we're gonna have a huge warm up on Monday. We can see more. Monday, 11 a.m. in the 70s in Kansas, 70s in Oklahoma, 60s in Arkansas, 70s in Louisiana, Texas in the 60s and 70s, Illinois 60s, Wisconsin in the 50s, Michigan in the 50s, Ohio in the 50s, Indiana in the 50s. We can see also Kentucky in the 60s too, Minnesota in the 60s too. We got a part of South Dakota. It's in the 40s and 60s. We can see also on here. So yeah, guys, Illinois is in the 60s. We can see also for Monday at 11 a.m. So some of these temperatures are pretty warm, we gotta say again. So alright, Monday at 2 p.m. we got 90s in Kansas, Oklahoma area, Nebraska in the 80s, Texas in the 80s too. We can see Louisiana in the 80s, Illinois in the 70s, Minnesota in the 70s, Michigan we have some 50s, Ohio we have some 60s, even near 70, maybe part of Ohio. Illinois in the middle 70s. We can see Missouri in the 70s, Arkansas in the 70s, Florida maybe in the 80s, Louisiana in the 80s, Colorado in the 70s again, Wyoming in the 70s too, South Dakota in the 70s, and maybe even near 80 in parts of South Dakota, maybe Minnesota in the 70s, Wisconsin in the 60s too. We can see also. So pretty interesting, guys. And we can see Monday at 5 p.m. we have 95 in parts of Kansas, guys. Even 90s in Oklahoma. Texas we're in the 90s. We could have Nebraska in the 80s, even near 90 in some parts of Nebraska. Iowa, we could have some 80s. Illinois, we could have some 70s and 80s, maybe potentially even roll out a couple 80s in there, maybe. Minnesota, we could even have maybe close to 82. Northern Minnesota, we're in like the Verdes. In southern Minnesota, we're in the 80s. We can see also. Part of Wisconsin, we're in the 40s, and the outer part of Wisconsin's in the 70s. We can see also. So yeah, Indiana, we're in the 70s too. We can see Ohio, we're in the 70s potentially too. We can see also. So alright, so we're going to talk about Monday at 9 p.m. now. So we can have 80s in Kansas, 80s in Oklahoma, 80s in Texas. We can see 70s in Missouri, 70s in Iowa, 70s in Illinois, 70s in Nebraska, Ohio in the 60s, Michigan in the 60s, Wisconsin in the 60s, Minnesota in the 60s, South Dakota in the 70s. We can see Colorado in the 70s. We can see even Wyoming is in the 70s too. We can see Louisiana in the 70s too. We can see Tennessee in the 60s. We can see also on here. So pretty interesting, guys. So we can see on here. So Tuesday at midnight, we can have 80 in Kansas potentially, guys. We can see also Illinois, we're in the 70s. Iowa, we're in the 70s. We could even have too. Nebraska in the 70s. South Dakota in the 70s too. Louisiana in the 70s. Mississippi in the 70s too. We can see Arkansas in the 70s. Kentucky in the 60s. Tennessee in the 60s. Colorado in the 60s, we can see potentially too. We got colder air moving in, looks like, from Minnesota, from down to North Dakota. We can even have 70 in part of South Dakota and North Dakota's in the Verdes, we can see also. So, pretty interesting. All right, everyone. So, we got 2 a.m. temperatures. We can see we got 70s in Kansas, 70 in Missouri, 70s in Oklahoma, 60s in Arkansas, 70s in Texas, 60s and 70s in Louisiana, 60s in Kentucky, 60s in Ohio, 60s in Michigan. We can see 60s and 70s in New Mexico, 60s in Colorado, we can see also, Verdes in Wyoming, 40s in South Dakota, 40s in Nebraska, 50s in Minnesota, 50s in Wisconsin, 60s in Wisconsin, we can see also, 60s in parts of Michigan, we can see also on here. So we can see the morning hours, yeah, we can see on the east. Let's move to the east, guys. So we're gonna have some warmer temperatures here, so our capability of some strong storms could be produced. I was talking about in yesterday's video. 70s in Ohio at 11 a.m., 60s, 70s in Illinois. We can see 70s potentially in Michigan too. We can see also 70s in Illinois, 70s in Kentucky, 70s in North Carolina, 70s in South Carolina, 70s in Georgia, 70s in Louisiana, 70s in Texas, 70s in Arkansas. We can see also. So yeah, then we can see our temperatures really rise in some of these areas, like Arkansas in the mid 80s, Missouri in the mid 80s. We can see also 70s in Ohio. We can see also some of these areas, 70s in PA, 70s in New York, Virginia 80s, 70s in North Carolina, 70s in South Carolina, 80s in Georgia, Florida in the 80s. We can see too in 60s and 70s in Michigan too. And we got a cold front we can see moving into for Tuesday. So perhaps some storms could be with it too. So thank you for watching this video, everyone. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys in the next one. Make sure to subscribe, notification bell, never miss a video like this, guys. Okay, guys, see you guys in the next one.